These people suck.
That's so fair and so true. Oh my gosh.
It's a simple phrase, but it's
true. We're about to turn into a counseling podcast.
This is Mark and I patrons most
This is literally
often
patrons.
is us just
It's
talking
either
about life.
dad or this stuff.
Hello and welcome to the Infinity Bros podcast, the only podcast that's perfectly balanced, as all things should be. My name is Isaac Edlin. I have two other Infinity Bros with me today. It is my good friend, the carrot distributor and tinfoil hat distributor of the Infinity Bros universe, Mark Jones. How you doing, Mark?
Doing great. Glad I'm a good friend. Could be the poor sap that comes after me.
You're a good friend. You're a great friend, even. And my other great friend, one of the other Infinity Bros, the prodigal son of the Infinity Bros universe and the portal master of the Infinity Bros. It's Max Mosher. How you doing, Max?
The great friend, not the good friend.
Great, good. I mean, who's to say?
6, 7?
6, 7.
Who's to say? Yeah, grateful to be here. Thanks for having me back. Excited to talk about Wonder Man. And I am a great friend. I love that. Love that for me.
Oh, Max, you didn't get the memo that we're now a political podcast, though. So we're actually talking about the Epstein file drop.
Oh, let's go. Woo! Yay. Politics. My favorite thing
Mark's
to talk
just
about.
like, yes, we're finally doing it.
I wouldn't even say it's political at this point.
True.
It's them versus the common people.
We are a Minnesota-based podcast, and we can confirm things are not well in Minneapolis.
It's wild here.
There's
We
our
mentioned
political
a little snippet of it on our last episode, but yeah, it's getting pretty crazy here. So we like to use this podcast to escape and talk about things that we actually like to talk about. So today we're going to be talking about not the Epstein files, but Wonder Man, the show that just dropped on Disney Plus last week and dropped all of the episodes all at once. So we're talking a full season recap, spoiler review, which we're going to get to in a bit. And then we're going to also rank our top 6 MCU shows. So it's going to be a fun show tonight. Got a lot of fun stuff for you guys. And first of all, we're going to be going through some non-spoiler stuff. Mark, I know this is hard for you, but don't spoil anything until we give the spoiler review. Okay? Shakes his head.
Why even do the podcast?
Wonder Man just dropped a couple weeks ago. Hollywood actor Simon Williams is thrust into the world of superheroes as he gets powers of his own and becomes the new superhero Wonder Man. This is a spotlight series, which, if you guys remember, is what Marvel Studios basically said. It's not interconnected with the rest of the MCU, so we don't need to be expecting Wonder Man to show up in Avengers Doomsday or anything like that. But in and of itself, this show was pretty fantastic. So, Max, what did you think of Wonder Man? Give me just a quick, non-spoiler review of what you thought.
I thought Wonder Man was what I expected TV shows with Marvel to be when they first started coming out on Disney Plus. I don't think it was a strong show in the sense of it's one of the best things Marvel's ever made. I think a lot of people are really excited and high on this movie, and I think it's good. And I think in comparison to other of Marvel TV shows, it's good as well. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think it's a good, strong debut for Simon Williams, a character that hardcore comic book fans will know and care about. If you are one of those people, I can't see how you walk out of this show not excited. I also think this show was very Hollywood is so glorified, yada, yada, yada. And then it's like, oh, look at how hard it is to grind in Hollywood. And I don't think that's as easy of a thing to grasp for the general audience as they think it is. And so I think film critics or people who are really artistic, this is definitely a show for you. And I don't get Trevor Slattery at all. I think he's good in this show, but I just don't get that character. And I'm excited to talk about that in general. So Marvel just continues to hitch their wagon to him, and I don't understand that long term. But overall, I give it a 4.9 out of 6, and I'm excited to compare it to other TV shows later in the episode.
For those of you who haven't listened to the Infinity Bros, we do have a special rating system that Max just referenced, so we'll plug that right here.
Here on the Infinity Bros podcast, everything is ranked from a 0 to 6 point scale. 0 meaning horrible, and 6 meaning absolutely excellent. If all of the Infinity Bros rank something a 6, it gets an Infinity Step.
All right, Mark, non-spoiler review. What did you think of Wonder Man?
I, really did enjoy it. I kind of, to go a little bit off what Max said, like, this is, I feel like, a show that we kind of always anticipated the Marvel shows would be. But what I really enjoyed about it, just, the whole time watching it didn't feel like your typical, what we have gotten for MCU shows. And there were moments where it's like, it just pulled me totally in to, like, kind of forget that I'm watching a Marvel branded superhero in a sense. And I thought they did a really good job there. And didn't have to do, this was also a show I didn't have expectations for, and also didn't expect another superhero to come, because I feel like we got right off the bat that we're kind of telling like a human story here. And like, he's not going to be put himself into, the fighting crime superhero aspect of it. And just, yeah, like Max said too, like the commentary we got on a working actor trying to survive in Hollywood, and then just happens to be plopped into the MCU world in a sense. So overall, if I had to rank it, I would, for me, just being a TV show all around, I would give it a 6 out of 6. I thought it hit all the notches for me. I thought the writing was good. There was, you got the kind of the spotlight context of stuff that they like to do with this type of show. And I, like what Max said with Trevor Slattery, they have to have an end game with him. There must be something that, like, is he more important than we realize? Maybe not. Or he can be just like, he's one of those coincidental, I'm just here in some vastly different scenarios, which would be hilarious. But yeah, overall, I want to see I'm not gonna spoil it. I almost spoil the thing, so I'll leave it at that. I really enjoyed it. I say go watch it. It's not going to be anything like I feel like the previous shows were, that felt they had to be comic book from the page and have a ton of action, because you really didn't get that here, which was nice.
Yeah, echo what both of you guys have said, that it felt like a non-superhero show that just happened to contain a superhero, which I think was refreshing. I think a lot of people are kind of getting, I know we've talked it to death on this podcast and just in pop culture in general, of everybody getting, the superhero fatigue type stuff. If you're tired of watching superhero shows, I think this one is a good one to watch, because it doesn't really focus on that aspect of Simon Williams or Wonder Man. And I thought it was great. Like Max said, the Hollywood aspect of it is really fascinating. I do think it probably plays to cinephiles. If you're a fan like of movies and TV in general, I think you'll enjoy it a little bit more than maybe just like the general public will. But it was just a well-made show, and the chemistry between Yahya Abdul-Mateen and Ben Kingsley is fantastic, and made this show for me. Those guys did really well together. I was with you, Max, that I'm not a Trevor Slattery fan before this series, and now I think I am. I think I actually like him as a character. Didn't even really like Iron Man 3 at all. And then the Shang-Chi appearance that he has is just a literal joke. So I didn't really know what we're doing with him in this show, and it turned me. It really made him a more endearing and gave him a little bit of depth, and I really appreciated that. I'd give this one a 5 out of 6. I really think it was more solid than people were expecting, including me. So kudos to Marvel for coming up with something a little bit different that wasn't overcomplicated. And I feel like they try to do that with a lot of these series too, is just pack so much into these limited series or like mini series or whatever. The 8 episodes was a nice length. It didn't feel rushed. It just felt nice. It was just a good, solid TV show. So yeah, excited to talk some spoilers. So here is your official spoiler warning for Wonder Man.
This is
Prepare yourself.
an Infinity Bros
Prepare yourself.
spoiler warning.
All right, guys. So I already mentioned we got Yahya Abdul-Mateen and Ben Kingsley playing the main roles here. But what do you guys think about, we can talk about Trevor Slattery a little bit, Max, if you want to, because we kind of both mentioned that. Before this, zero interest. I like when I saw he was in the trailer, I was like, oh, great. Like, here we go. And then throughout this series, I love the depth that they gave him, and the chemistry that they had was fantastic. Like, I want to see both of these guys in another project, whether it be Wonder Man 2. I don't know. Obviously, it's a spotlight series, but like, so I don't know if they fit in like the greater MCU or whatever. But like, give me a season 2 of Wonder Man, and I'm all in on that, because I thought they did a fantastic job with this season, and that those guys' relationship made this one for me. So what did you guys think of Trevor Slattery and specifically, and then their like chemistry throughout this season?
I think it's clear their chemistry was strong, and the director who also directed Shang-Chi was on record of saying he wanted to make a Trevor Slattery show before Wonder Man. He brought the idea to Marvel, and Marvel was like, well, we're making a Hollywood show anyway. Why don't we just combine them? So I don't agree with you, Mark, that there is this plan for Trevor Slattery. I think he just is such a fascinating character to these artistic types for a few reasons. One, it's Ben Kingsley. He's a really good actor. You want to work with Ben Kingsley. And apparently he loves this role. So like, if he loves it, you're not going to stop him from making it. The second is it's attached to Iron Man, who is essentially the patriarch of this whole thing. That's why Doomsday is getting such traction with Robert Downey Jr. But the biggest reason I think they like this character is because he's a direct reflection of kind of this weird ego thing that artistic people have in Hollywood, with all due respect. I don't mean it as a slight. It's just kind of the reality. He's goofy. He's eccentric. He thinks he's a bigger deal than he is, but he's also talented, but also kind of awkward. And I think these directors and actors can't help but like it. Shane Black, I mean, he put him in Iron Man 3, and to this day, I still don't fully know if that was the right move. And I just think the Trevor Slattery thing, in the context of Wonder Man, yes, he is strong chemistry, helps push the story. He's a good character in this show. I'm having a difficult time watching this show, being excited about it, but also at the same time going, Shang-Chi hasn't appeared in years, but I'm getting another Trevor Slattery thing for the third time since Iron Man 3. I just don't like that. I think it's really dumb.
Completely fair.
That's my context there. Because the other thing is, this show is so similar to the studio, which I didn't bring up in my non-spoiler, but it's one thing to make a show that years ago was a certain way. It's another to make a show that right now is going and is strong. And the studio is that show. This is like kind of a lighter version of the studio. It's a clean version of the studio. Like it's with all due respect, so much cleaner and so much easier to watch. I wouldn't call it better than the studio though. So I think that's part of my reason with the Trevor Slattery stuff and why I have such conflict with it. Because the show itself is good. The Trevor Slattery thing and the studio are these external things that give me a hard time when I watch it.
I just got done watching the studio like right before this one dropped, and I liked it a lot. Like, it was awesome. And the vibes were very similar in this, and the kind of like meta commentary of Hollywood and stuff like that. But the thing that I kind of drew from both of these shows is that in Wonder Man specifically, it's like these struggling actors. The fact that real actors are acting like they're struggling actors, like there's just some meta in there that I just was fascinated by. I was like, dang, these guys have to be like good actors to be playing bad actors that are trying to get a role, like there's just something there that I thought was fascinating. And I think there's an aspect to it, you're right, where like they definitely were trying to drive that artistic Hollywood thing or whatever. And in the studio, I think it's a little bit more satirical, which I think is why the studio works more with that. Seth Rogen is obviously making fun of Hollywood. In this one, it's like they probably aren't making fun of Hollywood in this one. They're just making more of a...
I think they are. I think you don't get a Joe Pantoliano in this show. Sure. Unless they are making fun of Hollywood,
true.
right?
That's true. Good point.
I'm more making the point that it's cool. It's funny that they're making fun of Hollywood. And I do think this show is satirical. I really do. I just really, really think you have Von Kovac, who has been marketed so much. in this show. And the scenes were some of Simon's best internal wrestling coming of age scenes. The main character, his climax scene is the scene in with Von Kovac. I think Von Kovac was the one that should have been off the wall squarely in this show. And they kind of underplayed that. I did like the show. I know I'm griping here, but I'm saying more of like,
he's getting all the negative stuff out of the way first.
I got to get the negatives out, but this one Trevor Slattery thing just eats me away. Because I think Ben Kingsley just is like, I really love playing this character. Let's just keep doing it. And Marvel's like, sure. Yeah, Wonder Man. Let's do that.
Wonder Man, here you go.
Well, that'd be interesting that, you said the director from Shang-Chi who did this, wanted him to do a show on this. And it kind of basically is an easy backdoor to get him in, is he has to come back to America, or he's, wants to come back to America at some point. Of course, he's going to get tracked down by some government agency.
Sure.
And then he's, got to be blackmailed, which is part of the show to, figure out why or how dangerous Wonder Man is, Simon Williams. But so I think probably writing wise, it was probably easy for them to pull someone like him to have them connected, especially in a Hollywood movie.
Just too that Destin Daniel Cretton is just an incredible director. Like he did a really great job with Shang-Chi, and he's doing Spider-Man Brand New Day coming up this year too. And they had him initially slated to do Doomsday, maybe just one Doomsday or Secret Wars. I don't remember which one it was. Maybe it was both.
Yeah, he was going to do
before
Doomsday.
The Russos like signed on to do it, but like they had him slated to do it. So like Marvel knows this guy's legit.
Yeah, they trust him.
I think if you could take a property like Wonder Man and make people excited about that and love that, I think you got some directing chops that need to be utilized further in the MCU. So
the story with Trevor Slattery was great, Mark. Again, I'm not dogging this show on the story.
we got
this
a redemption
so
arc
well
written
written.
Is what we got.
Yes,
so like that's what's nice. You got him to kind of be human for once,
right?
And be sacrificing.
It made complete sense everything along the way. Why he would have he knew exactly where Simon Williams would be. He knew what he would think, and Simon Williams is this eclectic actor who's a loner. And I felt like Yaya really brought that. Like,
oh man, he
is
fantastic.
so good. He's always been good. He was great in Watchmen. I know people hated how he looked in Watchmen. Spoilers: he played Dr. Manhattan in that. He is such a good actor. So to me, him and Kingsley, of course, they crushed it. They're both really good actors. Mm-hmm. This isn't hard. And you're right. This director is a killer. He just does such a good job. Like, this show is so well shot. It's the pacing's good. The pacing was so nice for a Marvel show. Oh my word!
Nice. It was refreshing to get a show that didn't felt like they crammed everything into it.
And we got our context in one episode with the Doorman. Here's a Doorman episode.
Yeah, I want to talk about that too, because the Doorman episode to me is one of the best. Yeah,
there's a couple. Question: are we a group that is Wonder Man, Simon Williams, a mutant or not a mutant?
Yes, I think he is.
I think it makes a lot of sense. I think that he would be
I think they're introducing mutants slowly here. I mean, we got Miss Marvel, and this is just another one where I think we're going to find out there's a bunch of like people like this that want to keep their powers hidden.
Yeah, the main reason I think he's a mutant is because of the hiddenness. You're absolutely right, Mark. Mm-hmm. He does not want people to know.
And that's whole social commentary
for him
in the next saga. Mm-hmm. Is like, hey, there's a bunch of people that have power. Should we have them sign up for stuff to make sure that we know who they are?
And his powers manifested when he was like 13 with the fire, and
kind of just like an X-Men.
Kind of delayed. Yeah, right.
Well, and he's a total loner. And the other part, we're getting into the weeds here, we're jumping the gun, but this guy would act really, really well with Scarlet Witch.
Yeah.
They have a relationship in the comics. I could 1000% see these two be together if Vision Quest goes a certain way in terms of storytelling.
Right.
Interesting. I think he would just be good with anybody because he's a fantastic actor.
Yeah, but I'm saying his consciousness in the comics gets uploaded into Vision. Who's to say he's not returning in that? And also who's to say that Doomsday and Secret Wars has this guy in it? I feel pretty confident he's going to be in one of those two movies. Because think about it. If Shang-Chi's in it, he's going to have a Trevor Slattery connection. His power set is pretty big. I bet Sam reaches out to him to join his team through Shang-Chi. and that's the Void, or I'm sorry, Sentry, excuse me, level hero that joins their Avengers team. I feel pretty confident in saying he's going to be in this. I really think that could be a real possibility, and it wouldn't surprise me in the slightest if they set that up. I think it's going to take a few movies, and they got to close this Vision Quest arc first, because that's such a huge perennial love story. But who's to say that White Vision doesn't end up with Wanda? And because it's not the original Vision, it needs a consciousness. And this guy, I don't know. There's stuff there too. They're so in the weeds on that. I need to get back to the basics.
Okay, here's more weeds then. Like, so we get some comic context, and they actually announced this a long time ago, before I even think they announced that Yaya was going to play Simon Williams. But his brother in the comics is the Grim Reaper, and they like announced that like really, really early on in like casting process that he was going to play Grim Reaper, and it was like, interesting. Okay, I don't know how that all plays into it. Obviously, it didn't this season. But like, do we think that we are going to eventually get that, his brother becoming Grim Reaper at some point, or maybe he already is somehow?
I think the tension is there. I think that character could come. I also just don't know how you're going to do it, given how the whole WandaVision thing ended. Like, it felt like that was the spot. The funny thing about Wonder Man and Grim Reaper is I thought this stuff would be part of WandaVision in some capacity, and it just wasn't. And it felt to me like that was a really good spot to put these guys in some capacity. It just didn't land that way.
Probably would have been like with the first half of WandaVision being like the television series stuff. Like, you probably could have worked it in with that somehow.
Yeah, I don't know. I just, real hardcore comic fans know that Wonder Man has a phenomenal arc in the Avengers. And I just don't think the regular people know this. And so I think this is a massive risk just to do this. So it's really cool that they did it in a TV show content.
Well, and I think they did it under the guise of spotlight, because in case it did flop, they're like, it's just a one-off, whatever. And then they're like, hey, if this goes good, then we can connect everything.
That's definitely one reason why they did the Spotlight series too, and probably why they did it with Echo as well. Because if they were like,
this is nowhere near, Echo is nowhere near the show.
Oh no, not anywhere close. But I think they had the same thoughts as to why you would make it a Spotlight series. Unless they truly have no plans for Simon Williams in the MCU, which I doubt.
I don't think you cast this actor to play Simon Williams to not have him come back in any capacity, whether it's a supporting character in a movie or another TV show.
Yeah, but I do think he could come back as Grim Reaper, Isaac. I think that's a very real possibility. And I think there was serious conflict with him and Simon Williams in this show. I think that has been built. I think Simon Williams breaking his mom's new table
that was a cool
is
moment.
A great caveat for like a long-term conflict with this guy.
Right.
And I could totally see, now that, jumping ahead to the end, Simon breaks Trevor out of jail. Eric, he's good with Eric, and then Eric just gets ticked off again. And I wonder how much Eric thinks like, I'm going to have to be the one that personally brings him out of this.
It would be fascinating to see like how they play that origin with the Grim Reaper. Cause like my first thought was when they go to, I think it's the second episode, when they go to his mom's birthday party, and like they're Haitian, like that's their nationality, and Haitian has like a ton of voodoo influence. I was like, man, maybe they could play that into like the Grim Reaper somehow. But I mean, obviously it doesn't have to play a part of it, but like if you're playing hard into the Haitian background, that'd be kind of cool to tie it into it a little bit.
Also, in an era where we had a lot of people frustrated about super specific heroes getting like changed with their gender and their ethnicity, I thought this show picked great characters to change. Wonder Man, no problem changing him to being Haitian.
Right.
No problem with like Doorman being, I know Byron Bowers plays Doorman. Like, I just think that was cool. I think with Grim Reaper, you can do the same. Like, these are all characters that can easily be changed. Right. This is a good example of Marvel doing it, putting the best actors in front of us to do these roles. Right. Versus like what the comic book says.
Versus like strict typecasting type of deal.
Yeah.
Right.
But I think they've They've learned past Endgame, put the right person in there, not the forced person. And this was another great example too. They were, everyone was firing on all cylinders in this show.
Yeah.
And the touch on the Grim Reaper thing, he's, could also be a mutant as well and been hiding
Yeah.
his powers.
Right.
And
For
both
sure.
of them in their publication history have ties to Zemo. So I wonder if that will ever get brought up or that'll just be. But then also Zemo would have to get out of the box. So there's that.
Well, and they're mutants. Like, I just think they're mutants, and that's easy. And again, this is another example. Marvel, you can make Wonder Man a mutant.
Yeah.
No one's dying on the hill that he had to be something else. No, I just don't see people getting upset about that. If you are, you're a fraud, because nobody cares about Wonder Man except for hyper nerds.
Right. Well, and that's what I was just going to say is, like, I mean, Wonder Man not being well known almost plays better into Marvel's like the scope of Marvel's like future, because they can pretty much do whatever they want with that character and people aren't going to really care that much.
I do think they're going to do something with Scarlet Witch and him, though. I think that makes a lot of logical sense.
That would be really interesting to see with Vision Quest coming up, though. Like, yeah, that'd be interesting.
I like Battle World. I think Battle World or Secret Wars, if they're doing a Battle World where they do all these like different nations, and they change everybody's backstories and they have no idea that Doom changed it. That'd be a great way to do it. Have Herbie married to Simon Williams. It gets him in the movie. It gets everybody knowing who he is. And it's a nod to the comics. You get that taken out of the care of. And then he's just somebody that the main protagonists have to fight to get to Doom. I think that'd be great for Secret Wars, and a great way to incorporate him, as well as other lesser known characters.
You mentioned Doorman earlier, so why don't we talk about episode 4 a little bit? I was a little shocked that they kind of pulled this off. They had mentioned previously that Doorman was the reason why, the acting sphere didn't include superheroes. And then episode 4, they launch into this like very detailed background of what happened with Doorman. And it's not gonna lie, guys, halfway through the episode, I was like, so we're just doing this. We're getting a full episode of Doorman. And I was like, I don't hate it. It turned out to be a fantastic episode. But halfway through, I was like, okay, all right, I guess we're doing this.
Same thing as you. I thought it was going to be maybe 10 minutes. And then, you're halfway through the episode. I was like, all right, we're in full on Doorman episode. But yeah, this is the type of context lore that I enjoy. And I thought they did a good thing. And I thought, another funny thing, what is it, the Great Lakes Avengers, like another one of them is now in the MCU.
Seriously,
so
for real,
gonna get a full squad of that. But yeah, given the context, why, like, what was in the first episode, it's like, do you have your Doorman clause or sign that? It's like, oh, what does that mean? And then getting all this, and Josh Gad being in the episode was was
so fun.
Sprinkles on top of the sundae, I felt like. And you just basically saw the rise and fall of this individual, and then at the end you're like, oh, he's still being monitored, but it's like, for what? Like, and I've seen stuff online now where it's like, well, is Josh Gad gonna be some villain or superhero coming out later? Like, is he gonna become Dark Hawk or something?
That would be hilarious.
No, he's gonna be this next set of Trevor Slattery. It'll be a bit in some Cloak and Dagger rehash.
Well, then that's also another thing. That's the dimension they go to, isn't that the Cloak and Dagger dimension? So, like, that kind of insinuates that Cloak and Dagger will exist in the MCU.
Well, it's all connected to the Darkhold. It's connected to that dark magic, which goes back to Doctor Strange. It's connected to Roxanne, which I sent a thread in our group chat. If you really look back, Roxanne's been there since Iron Man 2.
Right.
Like, when Tony's car flips, it's Roxanne is the one that sponsors his car. Like, that company has been in everything across every type of movie and show in Marvel. I think there's a really great opportunity to address that business in a movie or TV show. Like Ironheart 2, that'd be a great company to include for that show. That's the thing that shook me about that episode, was just how, again, they're on the loose. But also, I thought Josh Gad was hilarious. I thought the Frozen song was really stupid. Oh, that was really stupid. The rendition.
I loved it. I loved that so much.
But I appreciate that Josh Gad has a self-deprecating sense of humor.
Yeah.
And it's a realistic portrayal of how sometimes people get typecasted and they get their 15 minutes of fame, and people use and overuse them for their typecasting. And I've heard some people call it ethnicity. I think it's also just a typecast in general, story and illustration. And this was a tough story to watch. But I also think Marvel needs to do this with different spheres, right? You need to do this with suburbs. You need to do this with big cities. They're doing it with Wilson Fisk right now in New York. You need to do it in Doctor Strange's realm. You need to do it cosmically. You need to talk about the effect of having superhero or heroes in spaces. So it's just another way that they break it down. And this is pretty much comic storytelling. This is how the comic books do. They take real people and they do these kinds of things. So I appreciated that swing from Doorman.
And the just like, because we're in the Hollywood like sphere with that, the fact that Josh Gad comes in, plays himself, like I love that whole I love it when actors play themselves in projects. That's just makes me laugh, and they're able to make fun of themselves a little bit. Just makes me feel like they're a little bit more down to earth as a person. So
this is what made it feel like the studio, Isaac.
Yeah, right.
This is why this episode is like,
they had so many great appearances of people in the studio.
Yeah. Totally. And I think the studio did it first and
Mm-hmm.
is doing it better.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's
that
how
it's
this
doing
felt
it
to me.
better. But like in the scope of the MCU, I feel like this is, I mean, it's so different from everything the MCU has done too, that it just was, it was nice. It was really nice. But yeah, during the studio, the one that sent me was the Martin Scorsese one in episode 2, I think, when when they have to tell him that they bought his script just to trash it or whatever.
Oh yeah.
My gosh, that was such a great episode. Oh, that was awesome.
There's a lot of great bits on the studio. I just call it recency bias. This is like there were movies back in the day where it was two separate movies where they were about friends with, it's like Friends with Benefits was one, then the other one is like Justin Timberlake, some female actress, and then Ashton Kutcher and some other
like
female
Date Night,
actress.
I think was
and
one.
they came out at the same time. And so I can't tell you which movie is called which because of this. I feel like for Marvel, yes, Wonder Man is set apart, but in tone, I have a very difficult time pulling away from the studio with this. It's a cleaner version, which I appreciate, but it's still tremendously similar. And I think the studio is just doing it better. That doesn't make it bad. It just means the studio is literally doing it at the same time.
Where I think the Wonder Man does better than the studio. Like studio does better in most ways, but I really appreciated the like solid narrative that Wonder Man had versus the studio kind of seems like it's a picture into a lot of different areas in, Hollywood.
It's The Office.
Right. Yeah.
It's like you're watching these horrific things happen socially and you're just like, oh my word, I don't want to watch this anymore, but it's hilarious.
Yeah, but the driven narrative in Wonder Man was
of
nice.
course the narrative is what sets Wonder Man apart. I'm just saying the tone is incredibly similar, and I think long term that might hurt Wonder Man for some people.
I don't know, we'll see.
I hope not, but I think that's a threat.
I feel like it's such a niche, it's like a cinephile thing. Like there's so many movie references in the studio that like if you're not a movie fan, you just don't, it just goes over your head. And I feel like it's not quite the same in Wonder Man because it's obviously within the MCU, but there's still that feel of like, it seems very niche as to who is really, really going to enjoy this show. I don't know. Is the general public, they're probably not even going to watch this show necessarily because number one, it's a spotlight series. Number two, superhero fatigue. I don't know. Is the general public really going to go crazy over this, or is it just us nerds that are going to go crazy over it?
I'm reading that it's getting a lot of big push. And for clarity, Wonder Man references a lot of movies in this. I think it's like 50 different movies are referenced in this project too, right? It's like TV shows and movies. So I don't know. I think it's more similar than people would give it credit for. One argument I've heard is like, oh, Wonder Man wasn't marketed. I disagree. Wonder Man's been marketed. I've seen
marketed better than some other Marvel projects.
Way better than Echo. Yeah. Way better than, I think, better than Werewolf by Night. I think it was about as much as Moon Knight was. I look at them as about the same. To me, I had the same amount of knowledge, and I get it. I watch this stuff a lot. But I don't know. I think this show had a lot of marketing opportunity, and it was dating back to a long time ago.
So you mentioned Roxanne. Obviously, we've got that reference in the Doorman episode. Just was looking at the appearances, and we've kind of referenced that there's a couple of references in Iron Man 2, Iron Man 3, but there's a ton of references way back, like in the previous shows that aren't like MCU canon. Like Agent Carter. It was played a big role in Agent Carter, Cloak and Dagger, obviously. The Runaways, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. had a couple mentions. Daredevil played a part in season 2, mentioned in Iron Fist. But then in the MCU, it's been mentioned like four or five times now. She-Hulk mentioned it. There's a episode in Echo where they mentioned Roxanne, and then Captain America Brave New World, we saw a logo, and now
Loki.
we see you got Loki too, and then Wonder Man now. So it's not like this is came out of nowhere. Like it's existed in the MCU.
I just can't believe Marvel hasn't used it yet.
Right. True. Well,
they've used so many different things. I'm unsure of why they're not using it.
Right. Maybe they'll lean into it more now.
Unless they're going to give us a little quip in another movie or episode or show that they're like, here's Roxanne pretty much involved in everything. Pretty much everything that bad happened in the MCU, Roxanne has their hand in it somehow. Or in future projects, is Roxanne are we gonna get like a quick like review, like a hero? Roxanne's been involved in everything, and they're bad.
Yeah, you would think so, because like, man, when you get this deep into a connected universe, you almost have to do those little recaps of like where they were referenced and stuff like that. So I feel like you would have to get that if it were to be a main storyline in the MCU at some point. But
it also would make sense that Roxanne would be the big bad, Isaac, for a TV show team up.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe Marvel tries their own Defenders shtick after all the Battle World and Secret Wars stuff happens. Maybe they go back to the basics and go, all right, we're going to get this TV show thing right, but we're going to do the Great Lakes Avengers, right? Like we're going to pick a very niche group of heroes.
The Great Lake Avengers are going after.
I seriously like. I do too.
So
I like,
awesome.
or like go West Coast Avengers, put Hawkeye and Ant-Man on a team, give Paul Rudd a ton of money, get Jeremy Renner back, and just put like Squirrel Girl and some other obtuse characters in there, and see what happens. I think there's some opportunities there. Settle down.
What's the Squirrel Girl outfit going to be? Are you going to be done?
I think that's too. That ship sailed, Mark. Rivals has already taken over the globe. I just think the Roxanne thing is crazy, dating back to Iron Man 2, and literally every type of show and movie has it. I'm pretty sure Daredevil has something reference to it too. Isn't Roxanne the reason that his eyes are the way they are?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Isn't it?
I don't remember specifically, but on this Marvel wiki page, it says that they are a major plot line in season 2, which I don't remember season 2 that well because I think it was my least favorite season. So I'm not sure what the storyline was with it.
Yep.
But I wouldn't be surprised. Makes sense.
The incident that blinded Matt Murdock as a child involved a truck owned by Roxanne Oil and Chemicals.
There you go.
Yep.
That's a great opportunity for Marvel, and that was cool to see in this. Doorman, what also made Doorman so good, and what really makes this show good overall, because I did have this kind of anticipation of like, all right, who is going to show up in this? Because every single show and movie, someone shows up, even if it's like a crazy, weird side character. And the biggest Marvel connection was the damage control agent who's been in the Spider-Man movie, but he's not really that known.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a strength of this show is it doesn't connect to a lot of things. I want my Marvel things to always connect. I've always been a firm believer that that's what you do in Marvel. But I think that's what's going to make Wonder Man doing okay. It's 89% on Rotten Tomatoes. I think a lot of people enjoyed that. To your point with your superhero fatigue.
Yeah, like you said, 89% on Rotten Tomatoes, 7.6 on IMDb. Like it's well rated. General public is pretty pumped about it. I think I saw that it's like the third highest rated MCU TV show on Rotten Tomatoes, which is not bad. Because for some reason, Ms. Marvel is like 98% for some reason.
That's insanity. Doesn't make any sense.
Everyone loves Ms. Marvel except for us.
That's so crazy to me. Ms. Marvel is one of the worst shows Marvel's made. Period.
Well, so Miss Marvel, I go back to this. The first 2 or 3 episodes, I'm like, if this is a show, this is gonna be
Right.
awesome.
And
then
then they
it's
just
like,
completely
it's just like the
flipped.
plane
Oh,
just crashed.
gosh. Yeah, that was wild.
That show was brutal.
Yeah, pretty rough. So, speaking of other Marvel TV shows, we're going to be diving into our top 6 MCU TV shows in just a little bit. But I want to wrap up our chat on Wonder Man here. So, what do you guys think? Kind of just fast forwarding a little bit, we had the finale. It was a good finale. I didn't feel like it was crazy like Marvel a lot of times in these MCU shows tries to make it this big, huge thing in the finale, and it just ends up being kind of a mess. So, what did you think of the finale? And then what did you think of the final scene where Simon Williams goes and breaks out Trevor Slattery from, is it Rikers or the Rift or wherever he's being held?
Yeah, where
The damage control.
in She-Hulk, this is where she visited the Abomination.
Yes.
That's where he was staying. So yeah, it's known in like the TV spheres, but it's not the Raft.
Right.
Honestly, Isaac, I thought the ending was so strong here. I thought the journey to him becoming this movie star and watching him realize who he is the sum of all of his experiences was so deep and rich. And through the enlightenment and leadership of Ben Kingsley's Trevor Slattery, who I still don't get how he's in these shows, but it just worked for this. And to see at the end, to see the Mandarin persona come back out and take credit for him instead of turning him in was so cool.
I love that.
It really made that Iron Man 3 story a little more bearable. And I think this Simon Williams, as much as people are like, oh, he's not really a superhero in this, he has to show being a hero. And he is a superhero, and he's trying to figure out his place in the world. And I think for him to go method, to go undercover and figure it out was such a great way to talk about it. And for him to address Trevor as like, oh, it's great acting, man, when he figures out he betrayed him. Like those are just great touches. So I think the ending was not only one of the stronger endings of a TV show in Marvel recent history, I think it's one of the stronger endings in these phases of Marvel. And it sums up the whole season so well. And it's the reason why I think he's gonna be in Avengers. Is where is he going from here? He has to be going to see Shang-Chi. It's the only place he can go. It's the only place Trevor's gonna know.
Yeah, with the Trevor Slattery connection, like to see Simu Liu again would be fantastic. Like we
would have been a great post-credit scene.
Yeah,
would have been an amazing post-credit scene.
I was bummed we didn't get one. I was like waiting for it, and that was a bummer.
Yeah.
But
I thought it was great. I thought it was great how he got in. I think it's great that he has this cool power set. His costume is so good. So good. The glasses were good. Everything was good. 6 out of 6 on the look. They really nailed that look. I think it's better than the comics. And I don't say that often about these situations. This is that good. But yeah, I thought the ending was crisp. 6 out of 6 ending. That's what I'd say.
What did you rate the entire series? You gave it like a
4.9 because I think it's just too similar to the studio. And I think Trevor Slattery, we could have done some different things. We could have had different characters in here. Yeah.
I would say it's a little unfair to compare it to the studio when basically they were probably filmed around the same time. And you happen to just watch the studio first.
It was an accident, right? It's not like their fault. That part's not their fault. But it is their fault that they put Trevor Slattery.
I'll give you the Trevor Slattery. Like
that is their fault.
I can totally.
And it just.
Yep.
Yeah. We couldn't pair him with somebody else. We couldn't pair him with some other known.
I think it worked out well, though. I think it was a delight.
No,
surprise.
honestly,
I
agree with you there. I think it was like I didn't like that we got him in this, but it was fantastic. It's a redemptive arc for his character, and I love him now. Like I think it was the best possible way that you could have brought Trevor Slattery back. I do get like, did we need him back? Probably not, but like it's a role that required some like Hollywood acumen, and I feel like that was perfect. Like who else would you have put in that role? Like I just don't know who else it would have been. So
I must be jaded too with the Hollywood stuff. I think this like glamorizing Hollywood more and more is just tough for me. That story is just never going to work for me.
Right, that's fair. Mark, what did you rate it overall?
Oh, I rated it a 6 out of 6.
That's right. Man.
I'd say Max, you did a great job. I think summing it all up, the finale, and just kind of it all wrapped up. What I'd like to touch on is like I like how in the finale we get the closure of like, or maybe this might have been the episode before. I watched it all in one, so it just seems all one big episode. We get like, the movie's a success. We see and I loved that they brought back what's his name to replace Trevor Slattery.
Joe Pantolino. Yeah.
Hilarious. He becomes Barnaby.
Hilarious.
Awesome.
So good.
So like great, like chef's kiss there. And then like just the whole watching the movie with his family, and like they're all so proud of him, I think was super nice. Like he got that validation from his family finally. And honestly, he got his validation from his family when, when Eric was like, dude, I always loved you. Like he was a big brother that cared too much. And if he's Grim Reaper, maybe he's like, I don't want him to fall into what I've been doing behind the doors, closed doors. So anyways, because he also asked him to, I have a position opening up in his business. Going back, anyways, I'll move forward from that. And then the ending of the movie, success, has the discussion with the director, like, oh, we shouldn't do a sequel, but clearly they want to do a sequel if there's a good story to tell. So like, there's that, and then the method acting, like the thing in my mind is like, okay, why was he willing to break out Trevor Slattery? Because like that's going to be so public, they're going to recognize his face. Right. So like, what's happening that he's like, I'm breaking him out, and knowing that I'm breaking him out, it's going to cause huge issue. So like that to me is like that's the open end to like, we have to have a season 2.
He has to come back. They wrote this in a way, like their other Marvel shows, they write it in a way where it's like, they can stay hidden. And I'm not saying he's going to be like an Avenger, but he is for sure coming back in something. Especially given the fact that Marvel just can't keep Trevor Slattery out of something. He's next to him. So like, zero chance.
We had Wonder Man save Trevor Slattery.
Yeah, so we had to save Trevor Slattery from jail, apparently. But yeah, I'm with you, Mark. You're absolutely right.
And clearly he learned how to harness his powers and fly.
Dude,
so what's been going on?
That was another cool moment, right?
That's Sentry level stuff, man.
Yeah.
He is so powerful. He's so OP.
Right. Like, when we finally get to see him show down with somebody, it's gonna be really fun.
That guy's not sitting in the background like Echo. That guy's not like,
you're not gonna throw Echo versus Doomsday. You're not gonna, or Doom maybe.
Yeah, he's not flying under the radar like Moon Knight. He's way too public. His power set is far superior to other Avengers, and that was the purpose of him in the comics. He's got to go head to head against these Jokers.
Yeah. Well, that leads me to like the thing going post this show, and given his story arc in the comics. Is he going to be a good guy off the bat, or is he going to be more of an anti-hero where he's making decisions that really wouldn't be hero-esque, and the heroes might look at him as a villain? Like, that's another thing we might get, too, where he's slated as a villain, but he's really not.
Because he's rolling with the Mandarin? They think the Mandarin's back and real?
Yeah. Because that's what it's going to look like.
That's a good point, yeah. I like it. I like the show. I don't even know if I mentioned it earlier. I think I give it a 5. I get it a 5 out of 6. It's really solid. Just... it was so different and so refreshing from everything else that we've gotten in the MCU. And I feel like I feel like almost a broken record when I say that, because a lot of the projects that we've gotten in Phase 5 were meant to be different, but this truly was different. This didn't feel like a superhero show, which I appreciated. It's just solid.
You could have given the show to anybody who has not watched an MCU show, and they're like, "Oh, this is a pretty good show."
Exactly.
Like, you didn't need to have any back. You really didn't have to have any backstory with Trevor Slattery, and there's tons if you go, some of the mini episodes with him. But
yeah, I mean, it helps to have the context with him. But like, yeah, I think they did a good enough job of rehashing that to where I think anybody would enjoy the show. But I think it will probably fly under the radar.
The references to the other stuff is so niche that anybody could watch this. Yeah. And Yaya is so good.
He's so good.
He is so good. Like when the family is all together at that party and they're all celebrating his mom and he's just disillusioned and sad and the rest of them are happy. He's just putting on a clinic.
Yeah.
And you're right. I think it was you, Isaac, that said he's playing an actor that's a bad actor or like trying to figure out how to be a good actor.
Right. Right. He's not a bad actor per se, but he's figuring
overthinking
it out.
Actor. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
And I loved that.
That's awesome.
And I think, he's coming back. The ending was so strong.
Yeah. It was nice to not have a messy finale from a Marvel show. Like, have we even had a show?
Yes.
Where we didn't get a
there wasn't
finale?
any big tentpole fight. Right. There wasn't any big crazy. Oh, it was so refreshing. Oh. There wasn't a big fight. Right. There wasn't this big we got to go get the MacGuffin. The
most violence we had was him was the dream sequence of him punching that guy in his face.
Oh,
Like, that's
I
the most
forgot to
violence
talk
we've
about
ever
that. When that happened, I was like,
And I was like, oh, okay, this show is stepping up.
What?
I was like, okay, we're going to get a villain arc. They're going to make Wonder Man a villain, and he's going to be a villain. And then then it was
That
just a
was
dream.
wild.
So I was like,
Remember,
oh.
in Multiverse of Madness, anytime someone dreams, that happened in another reality.
wild.
Nah, maybe when his eyes turn red, it's when the Scarlet Witch is controlling him, or that what's the name? It was part of like if they had to do a villain, it's that basically that ruler of the dark magic, the red magic.
Yeah, right.
Like that's what's controlling him when he goes into Wonder Man.
But the rule established in that movie was dreams are alternate universes.
Right.
And his powers in the comics too are so like, I don't want to say like vague, but like he's just like ionic energy is the only way you can describe it, and he can pretty much do anything. He could channel his ionic energy to pretty much do anything, and it's like, oh, okay,
Well,
great.
it's essentially he has full control of what Cyclops
Right,
can do
yeah.
in a sense, just through his eyes. Like he has now that all over him. He's basically Havoc and Cyclops, but if he could control every aspect of
that he can control.
Yeah.
It was nice to also at the beginning of the series, I didn't like him because he was just a jerk to everybody. And it was nice to have a character that I feel like recently it's been like, oh, this character is a good person, but they're just misunderstood and they have all these bad breaks and stuff like that. And it was nice to have a character that was like, oh, this guy just like is kind of a jerk. Like he wasn't like the typical cookie cutter Marvel lead role. I felt like, and it was nice to get that. And then he kind of turned, and I didn't really like, I don't think it made him a better person necessarily that he figured things out. So it'll be interesting to see what his personality looks like now that he's got all this success. It'll be interesting. I'm really excited. I really hope we get a season 2 of Wonder Man. Honestly, that would be really fun.
They were so wise to put scenes of him and his father in there. When his father says you're destined to act, that was all I needed. It was so simple. I forget which one of you said this was a simple story. It's so true.
Yeah.
This is a very simple story.
They didn't overthink it. They just like simple story.
It's a human story.
It's just what these TV shows need.
It happens to be the human has super ionic weapon powers.
You can connect to other Marvel shows. I always believe you have to do that, but you can make it simple, and I think they did that well.
Well, they made it a spotlight show, so we didn't have to have that expectation.
And that's probably part of it too. Like, just give it the label of a spotlight show, and then everybody isn't freaking out about when they're coming back and stuff like that. And then if they do, everybody's like, "Oh, sweet, great, they're back." But they're not like having that huge expectation of they have to come back. Interesting that they made this. I mean, it makes sense, but
he is so back. It's more likely he comes back than like Moon Knight.
Probably. Honestly,
I know Moon Knight's ending was pretty honest of like he's coming back too, but this is a very it was very public. Well, very public.
And if you go back, I mean, we've been talking about how like Phase 5 has been not interconnected within the MCU, and Moon Knight is one of those shows where like it had nothing to do with the rest of the MCU. Like you could have it's a spotlight series, even though it wasn't considered a spotlight series. There's like
he had to steal the scarab from Doom, and that's how Doom got involved in this all. Moon Knight's probably not in the 616.
You think Moon Knight is on Doom's universe?
That would be wild.
Yeah, whatever Doom is the villain in Doomsday is, I would bet $10 that's Moon Knight happened in that universe.
You would bet $10.
Moon Knight did not happen in 616. $10 whole dollars.
Wow.
You know what? To make it a dream worthy, $25.
It's 20, not 25.
Well, you said inflation last night.
I did say inflation. That's a good point. No, you're right. I did say inflation. That's fair.
Yeah.
That's so good.
So let us know what you guys think of Wonder Man. We had a lot of fun watching it. We'll get a kind of like a summary of all the Infinity Bros thoughts out there after we post this episode as well. But hit us up at theinfinitybros.com, at infinitybrospodcast@gmail.com, or on our socials to let us know what you thought of Wonder Man. All right, boys. Next thing we've got is our top 6 MCU TV shows.
We're going in 3, 2.
You're entering the top 6 on the Infinity Bros podcast.
Starting now.
All right, so I mean, we try to do a little recap after we review these shows, but I feel like it's been a hot minute since we've actually had an official top 6 like Marvel MCU TV shows, and now we have enough TV shows that like you don't have to put all the shows on your list. So I feel like this is going to be really interesting to see your guys' lists. I'm very curious. You're talking, Mark. Go ahead. Hit us with your list.
Oh, I'm talking. My list, I'll go from bottom to top. My number 6, What If? My number 5, Daredevil, because technically Daredevil is an MCU. I don't care what anybody
Like
says.
the Netflix Daredevil?
Hold on. Are you talking about the original the Netflix Daredevil?
I'm talking about the whole all Daredevil. All Daredevil's one.
Okay.
No, you're gonna give me on that.
You do you, man. This is your list.
Give me a reason why it can't be 5.
I didn't
Mark,
include.
No,
I
you
didn't.
tell me why it
If
can't be
I'm
5. Why
including
can't it be on my
Daredevil, it's
list?
number one for sure.
Well, when you Google or when you go to the Wikipedia page, list of Marvel Cinematic Universe television shows, guess what shows up there?
Yeah. Well,
Agent Carter,
Cloak and
Shield,
Dagger,
Cloak and Dagger,
also, and
all
Hellstrom,
the
and all
Netflix
those shows
shows.
also show up on there. So
Yeah, so like why can't that be on my list?
you do.
Okay,
you,
Mark, it's
Go
on your
for it.
list. You're top dog.
I have Wonder Man at 4.
Nice.
Is it too early, Max? You gonna have any critique on that?
No,
one?
I have
it's
Or
up
nothing
to
to
you,
say.
kid.
I'm
I don't
gonna-
have any problem with that.
Hey, you do you. You do you.
Number 3, Falcon and Winter Soldier. 2, WandaVision. 1, Loki.
WandaVision at 2. That's wild. Love it.
WandaVision's never gonna leave the top 6.
People talk about WandaVision like they loved it, and they're crazy.
I loved it.
I know.
Not only did I love that show, I loved the culture we lived in during that.
that
I
was
talking about it.
what you really loved, wasn't it?
When Max talks bad about WandaVision, it's like in Falcon and Winter Soldier when Bucky is just like so emotionally upset that Sam would give away the shield. Is when Max talks bad about WandaVision. That is how I feel. like okay, bro. I guess that time meant nothing to me. F myself, right?
If he's wrong about him, he's wrong about me.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. No, I love it. I'm all
Oh my
in.
gosh.
That's a tremendous
Love
illustration
it.
for how we looked at
Mhm.
WandaVision.
It's a great
And I think
metaphor.
I have the
it's awesome.
inverse reaction. I'll just go. So
Just go.
6 is Falcon and the Winter Soldier for me. 5 is X-Men 97, not the previous X-Men. X-Men 97. That
It's
one
not
season.
MCU X-Men.
That one season. 4 is Ironheart. 3 is Wonder Man. 2 is Loki. 1 is She-Hulk. She-Hulk is the Seinfeld of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
She-Hulk
That's my
at
take.
1.
I think She-Hulk.
She-Hulk was almost
Dang.
my 6.
She-Hulk
but that
is
is
so-
I am not shocked by that. For
No,
you.
I think She-Hulk is one of the most brilliant shows Marvel's ever. I think it's one of the most brilliant things they've ever made.
I'm not surprised she's high on your list, but
I
one,
love
that's
She-Hulk.
wild.
I think it's so
Max loved
good.
it.
I think it's
And I
hilarious.
hope they recast that character and bring another She-Hulk. I would love another season 2 of She-Hulk. I don't care who
Here's
plays.
another
I
reason
think
why
the character's
She-Hulk
great.
really lands for me. She-Hulk does everything I want in a Marvel show. It has a core Avenger. It has other connections that are bigger but like secondary. It has connections that are off the wall and weird. It advances the story. It advances the plot of the bigger MCU story. And it was very funny. And it did everything I want a Marvel show to do. It had Daredevil in it, for goodness sake. Like, I just think She-Hulk is criminally underrated. And I will die on that hill. And I know I'm in a very small minority on that. The other thing I was going to say is I do not think Wonder Man it is too Mark. I put it at 3. I think Wonder Man is strong. I just again my criticism is really about the Trevor Slattery thing. I'm like, I just don't get. I really like the show, but I'm like, man, that what is Marvel? What are you doing? What are we in general? All of MCU doing here? That's my big issue. Yeah, and Loki, man, Loki's. But Loki, how they take care of Doomsday is going to affect Loki long term.
Can include Loki, I would assume. Like with his
And to speak on what Mark just
status
said
right now.
about WandaVision, I have the inverse reaction because of what the culture was at that time. And for Wanda to end it the way it did broke me in a way that I'll never, ever forgive it for. And I have the inverse reaction to Mark. I despise it because if that show had landed at the end, it'd be number 1 right now. It'd be sitting right at the top. But it was all or nothing,
got
and they
John
went for
Walker
nothing.
energy.
They went for broke. I'll give them that.
So if just another further question. If Mephisto doesn't show up in Ironheart, that's not on your list either, right? Like
Not a chance. The way
He makes that
Ironheart,
show, I feel like.
Ironheart. Well, here's what I'll say: Ironheart, She-Hulk, and Wonder Man all had great endings. Loved all 3 of their
Yeah.
endings. Strong and Loki,
fair.
great ending. X-Men '97, great ending. Falcon and Winter Soldier ending, not the strongest, but that's why it's 6.
Mhm.
I think, well, into the Falcon and Winter Soldier, I don't think you could have had a grand ending like those other shows. Like that, it ended to basically set up, Captain America
Right.
4. So
So that's the other
good.
part. These shows did end well.
Well, my list I feel like is probably the most different out of all of your guys.
Yours is probably the most mainstream. Yours is probably the most like what the normal people think.
Maybe that could be. I didn't put animation stuff on here, but if I did, X-Men 97 would probably be on it. What If would be near the bottom of the list. I'm not sure if that would make the cut or not, but both of those shows I really liked, but I just went with like true MCU stuff. So 6, I've got Falcon and Winter Soldier. Really liked it. Really enjoyed it. 5, Daredevil Born Again. That might be my most controversial one on here. Like part of it too is like Mark said, Daredevil, like the Netflix Daredevil was an incredible show. Probably is the best superhero show of all time, in my opinion. Daredevil Born Again was far below that. But the fact that we got a lot of elements coming back, like Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio, who are perfectly casted, I just still really enjoyed that season, even though it was far inferior to the actual Daredevil show. So still on my list. And another thing I'll say too, I don't have any 6 out of 6s on this list at all. My number 1's not a 6 out of 6 either.
I don't either. None of my shows are 6 out of 6.
It's just the Marvel MCU shows. They just have been a little subpar. So 5 was Daredevil Born Again. 4 is Hawkeye. Underrated. I love the Christmas vibes of that one. I think it might be the only MCU show that I've actually rewatched. I know I've rewatched Loki as well, but Hawkeye, absolutely love it. I think it's underrated. Number 3 is Wonder Man. It did break my top 3. It's solid. It's really good. Number 2 is another controversial one, Moon Knight. I love Moon Knight. I understand why people don't like it. It was very cramped and convoluted, and the finale kind of was a mess. But Oscar Isaac as Moon Knight, I just loved him so much. I thought he was fantastic, and I will be really, really sad if we don't ever see him in the MCU again. So Moon Knight's number 2. That's another controversial one, probably. Number 1 is Loki. I think Loki's just such a good show. And I think season 2 honestly elevated that to number 1 for me. Season 1 was solid. It was really good. But man, season 2 knocked it out of the park. Season 2 might be a 6 out of 6. But if I'm taking the whole show into context, I don't know if I can give it a 6 out of 6. But yeah, Loki's number 1 for sure for me. I don't even think any of the other shows are on the tier that Loki is on with all of these shows. So
go She-Hulk.
So there you go. That's my 6. Moon Knight and Hawkeye. And Daredevil Born Again. Well, I guess if you're comparing Daredevil on Mark's list to Daredevil Born Again, Daredevil blows all of those shows out of the water by far, though. Netflix Daredevil was such a good show.
If you want violence and action, that's where you go, is the Netflix.
That hallway
Marvel
scene
shows.
might be the best action TV show scene of all time.
Season 1 of Jessica Jones beats my whole list.
Yeah, that was a good season.
You know who shows up in season 2 of Born Again?
Yeah.
Jessica Jones.
I know.
Played by the same actor.
I want
It's
Luke.
really weird that you wouldn't have them part of the MCU list.
I want Luke
Can
Cage
you
back. I want Luke Cage back so bad.
Luke Cage, that'd be fun. So we got that trailer of Daredevil Born Again season 2. This was initially supposed to be one season, like season 1 and season 2. Are you guys like hyped for season 2? Like I'm definitely excited for it, but like after season 1 was kind of a letdown. What are your like feelings on this with, Jessica Jones coming in for season 2? And
are we under the impression that they filmed season 2 along with season 1? Like, is that where we're at?
I don't know. Initially, that's what I thought.
Because if that's the case, I would be with you. It's like, this might not be the best unless they did reshoots.
Or I don't know if that's actually what happened, but I know that was what was planned.
But that could happen with Hollywood, where it's like, hey, we filmed all this stuff because this timing wise it worked out. We're going to split it up into 2. Or they're like, hey, this is how season 1 ended. Let's bring back some more Netflix of those characters. And let's say maybe try to get a secret superhero in here to kind of make it more fluffed up and better. I don't know.
Right. Well, yeah, and if you're making a big deal about Daredevil being a part of the MCU now, like that's what you do. You get another MCU hero to help him out. Right?
It would be really on point for them with the Spider-Man movie coming out. Is that coming out this year as well?
Yeah, that's
to not have any of those characters that are going to be in that movie, whether it's villains or even Spider-Man himself, not show up in season 2 I don't want to set expectations, but a little bit of a letdown. Be like, Daredevil is existing in New York. To not have a mention of any of those characters in the next movie,
Yeah.
or what's actually going on with, like, why is the Hulk being chased after?
Part of why season 1 of Born Again was so disappointing, because it was like, all this is happening in New York, and you're telling me that Daredevil's the only superhero, even though 50% of the Marvel universe lives in New York for some reason.
All the Thunderbolts are currently in New York.
I was just gonna say,
Yeah.
the Thunderbolt stuff that happened.
Telling me,
Yeah, ridiculous. You're
You're
absolutely
telling me Sam Wilson's not keeping track of what's going on, so like,
right. No, you're telling me Sam Wilson hasn't reached out to Daredevil and been like, you should join the Avengers, and Daredevil's like, kick rocks. Come on, get out of here.
I'd love to see that scene. That'd be great.
Yeah, he's
or
looking
Miss
at him
Marvel
like,
showing
"You are
up to be
nuts."
like, "You want to join our team?" And she's like, "Oh, you're old." Never mind.
Yeah. No, Daredevil's final scene just being a bunch of cops and not being
Oh,
anybody from the MCU, not one hero, was asinine.
Here's our army.
Yeah.
Just a bunch
Cops.
of regular people.
Yeah. And
Got
oh,
nice
by the
agents
way,
this time.
the trailer for this next season, flop. Not even good. Zero hype. Not excited at all for it.
I wouldn't say that, but
Oh, Max, who crap in your-
just based
I'm
on
just
last
saying-
season,
I'm just
my
saying,
hype
like,
is low.
There's just no substance to that right now. And I liked the season, Isaac, too. I thought the season actually wasn't that bad. I gave it a 4.2 out of 6. I'm just saying, like, to end it the way you did it, where it's like, here we go.
Yeah.
And it's literally just a
Yeah.
bunch of nobodies in a universe that has 1 billion people. You have Frank Castle.
Yeah.
Would have been nice to have him in the room.
Yeah. In New York, in the most popular city in Marvel.
Get out of here.
Maybe he's off world or dealing with something else. I go back to the
I think that's
the
a bigger
Spider-Man-
deal than
the second
Wilson Fisk
Spider-Man when
taking
he's-
over New York.
Where he's like, "Well, where's Thor? Where's Captain Marvel?" And they're all doing other stuff. It's
Yeah, nobody
One of those
from the
things.
Avengers is like, oh, Wilson Fisk is taking over. We probably need to look into that.
Okay, the one clip that did get me hyped during that trailer, though, is Wilson Fisk kicking the crap out of dudes in the boxing ring. I was like, oh my gosh, Vincent D'Onofrio's Wilson Fisk.
He looks
Fisk
jacked.
is
He
just-
does look jacked.
and so like
He's
that's
so
the other thing
good.
too about this show and those actors. It's like both Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio have like been on like podcasts and shows and interviews. Be like, they love playing these characters.
Yeah, right.
And they love the fans. So like they put their heart into this. Like that's another thing. We're not going to get like just somebody that doesn't care about this. Like they're invested. So like at the end of the day, we're going to get good acting from them. And I'm sure they're also going to critique like, hey, I've been doing this character for 10 years. I'm going to have an opinion. So
Yeah, true.
that's also I think a good thing with this show.
Well, boys, that about wraps it up. Coming up, we've got the Stan Lee show, hopefully later this month. But definitely stay tuned for news on that, where it's the award show that we rank all our 2025 movies, TV show, all that good stuff. I'll put our 2024 Stan Lees on the show notes as well, so you can take a peek at those and listen, get a feel for what it's like. But yeah, it's a live show that we do on Twitch, and then we put it also on our audio feed as well. But it's a lot of fun, so make sure you stay tuned for news on that. And thank you for being a part of the Infinity Bros universe. Wherever you're listening, however you're listening, thank you so much for making us a part of your podcast experience. We love you 3000. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to the Infinity Bros podcast. You can find the Infinity Bros on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Twitch, and YouTube at the Infinity Bros. You can also check out our website at theinfinitybros.com for links, reviews, and sweet merch. Feel free to send listener feedback via social media or email at infinitybrospodcast@gmail.com.